Yam Shaiva Samupasate Shivaidi Brahmedi Vedantino Bauddha Buddha Idi Pramana Padava Kartedi Nayayika Arhan Nityatha Jaina Shasanarada Karmedi Nimamsaka Soyam Vo Vidadhadu Vanchita Phalam Trailokyanaatho Harihi Soyam Vo Vidadhadu Vanchita Phalam Trailokyanaatho Harihi Shuddho Buddho Vimuktaha Sudhishikaragiram Mukhyataat Paryabhumi Yasmad Jadam Samastam Jagadidam Amritaad Vyapya Sarvam Sthidoya Yasyam Sham Shavatarehi Suranaravanajayim Rakshidam Sarvamedade Tam Bhumanam Mukundam Hrigadam Amalam Krishnameva Prapadde Tam Bhumanam Mukundam Hrigadam Amalam Krishnameva Prapadde Madhya Hridaya Kashe Sadanandamayo Guru Udetu Satatam Sammake Ajnanatimiraruna Harihi, Harihi, Harihi. We shall have the 3 times joined Omkara recitation. Interlock your fingers and put them on your lap. Sit comfortably erect, close your eyes, open the mouth and heart and join me. Let this chorus recitation spread the whole of the earth, upon the whole earth, and generate its blessings and shower them on every creature of the land. Our subject is intensifying your spiritual growth. Yesterday we mentioned that inspiration and exposure are the 2 factors which will constantly help you to grow spiritually inwardly. First of all, when I say spiritual growth, many of you have the idea that it is something far different from secular life and the world. Please correct yourselves. Let us understand the word spiritual. The entire creation consists of matter and energy alone. I already mentioned, I hope, yesterday that our whole body, including the senses, are made up of matter, and matter alone is there. This body is animated and activated by the mind. Every time. No experience is generated by the body. No knowledge is produced by the body or the senses. Every experience belongs to the mind. Knowledge belongs to the intelligence. Nothing to the body at all. There is an inner presence in the body which consists of only matter. And that presence is different from the body. Because it is different from matter and materiality, we call it spirituality and spiritual. Am I clear? Huh? Please tell me very clearly whether I am clear. I am clear whether you are clear. But the presence inside the body is not a material presence. Material presence is the body. It is full with matter. Solid matter, fluid matter, gaseous matter, then fire, and also akasha, space. There is no place within the body for any other factor at all. So whatever is present in the body, animating and activating it, it cannot be material or energial. Because it is different from matter and energy, we call it spirit and spiritual. I am not meaning any ghost or God or any other factor. Let us be very clear about it. So when we say intensifying spiritual growth, it means intensifying the growth of your inner personality is the meaning. Still split further, what is the meaning? It is intensifying the growth of your mind and intelligence. Nothing else. Our inner personality consists of mind, intelligence and ego. Nothing else. So the growth of the inner personality means growth of the mind and intelligence, also ego. For the time being, we will not speak too much about the ego. Let it remain there. We derive inspiration from two sources, I said. One is from another person. It can be by reading, hearing, seeing. The real exposure is either through another person or through the scriptural compositions, I said, our Shastras. Sri Rama went into a great delusion. Nobody in the palace was able to treat him. Neither the parents, nor the ministers, nor any other elders. Ultimately, it fell upon sage Vasishtha, and sage Vasishtha continuously spoke to him for 18 days. It was all an exposure. It is from the last section of this dialogue that I am writing in our English journal, Vichara Setu. Signs of Inner Redemption. This is the head, title. What did Vasishtadeva do? He only continuously exposed him, and Rama absorbed the exposure. Everywhere it is exposure. And the right exposure is from the scriptures and scriptural compositions. And our scriptures are prehistoric. Prehistoric. Prehistoric means it can be any time. Our earliest writings are Rigveda. And in the Rigveda, I mentioned Ano Bhadraha Kratavo Yam Indu Vishwadaha. That is one. Listen to this. Samano mantras samidif samani samanam manas sahachittamesham samanam mantram abhimantrayevaha samanena vo havisha juhomi. I think there is a lot to understand, provided you are discreet enough. May our purpose be the same. May our purpose be the same. May we all be of one mind. In order that such unity, in order to generate such unity, I offer a common prayer. Just see, these are the type of thoughts, noble thoughts, thoughts whereby the mind will expand, the intelligence will have clear sight, insight, the ego will have the right sublimation and effacement. These thoughts were incorporated in the Rigvedas and very, very old. I am not going into the Vedas as a whole, Rigveda as a whole, only one. See how they say, Samani va agudhihi samana hridayani vaha samanamastu vo mano yathava Susaha hasadi. May our intentions and aspirations be alike. Don't you think this is what our political parties are trying to shout and bring about? We have selected our motto at the time of independence, Satyameva Jayade. It is from Mundaka Upanishad. They are of immense value. This was a knowledge evolution our people were able to achieve in the most early ages that we can think of. You may wonder, why are these thoughts there? These thoughts are learned, recited, presented. They are heard. Earlier times, no writing was there about Vedas, only recitation. People heard and learned. I would like to pause for a while and then tell you why this is incorporated there. Every one of you has a mind, but you never know anything about the mind. You say, I have a mind. Have you ever seen it? Have you ever felt it? Can you give me a definition or a description of the mind? It is unlike solid substance, fluid substance, gaseous substance. Unlike all forms of energy, it is unlike space even. Then how can we know it? Nevertheless, we have an experience of the mind. And that mind is the very source of everything. It is actually consciousness. Whatever the mind thinks and contemplates upon, that verily transpires, occurs. इसलिए ये सब बताया है. Suppose we have to be together. You have to constantly and repeatedly say, let us be together, let us be together, let us be together, let us be together. Together, 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 together. Whatever the mind thinks, that it becomes. Ya matihi sa gadihi. Ashtavakara Maharshi tells Janaka Maharaja, Ya matihi sa gadihi. A few people in Allahabad decided that we would become free from the British clutches. They said it. Some people heard it. They also agreed. And all of them stood together, sat together and started saying, we shall make India free. And India became free. Every thought of the mind, depending upon the purity of the mind, the clarity of the mind, the loftiness and depth of the mind, every thought of the mind will become a reality. Provided you pursue it, pursue it, pursue it, preserve it, preserve it, intensify it, strengthen it, deepen it, make it loftier and loftier. The whole world has emerged from the mind. I don't think you are prepared to accept what I said. Suppose I prove it, what will you do? Shall I prove it? No response from the audience. Shall I prove it for you? Provided you are intelligent, you will know readily what I am saying. We speak about the world. This world is what you know, you see, you deal with. Suppose you are not there, will the world be there? And when is the world there? Every day consists of 24 hours. In the 24 hours of the day, let me know for how many hours is the world there for you. Maximum 16 hours. And for 8 hours, where does it go? You who said the world is there, the same man continues to live, but there is no world for him. He himself is not there. When you sleep, you are nowhere. You are nothing. You are unconscious of your body, mind, intelligence, ego, not to speak of the world. Is there anybody in this world who has woken up except from sleep? Mark my words. Is there anybody who has woken up except from sleep? Whenever somebody has woken up, he is wakeful, he has woken up from sleep. And after waking up, where does he go to? Why all of you are keeping quiet? Nobody can answer me? After the waking for 16 hours and more, what happens to you next? What is it that you want? You want to sleep. And the world is there only when you are wakeful. The world is an outcome of your wakefulness. And your wakefulness is a product of sleep. Sleep produces the wakefulness. And the wakefulness slips into sleep again. So every wakefulness and therefore the world around, every wakefulness and therefore the world around, both are in between two sleeps. Can you deny it? Please get up and deny what I say. Otherwise accept it in toto. You have no alternate. That which comes from sleep, that which goes into sleep, that which knows nothing other than the sleep as its source, what do you call it? You have a similar state, individualistic, that is dream. But that is within the body and individually occurring. So many people wake up together and they are seeing the world together because they are wakeful. 100 people may be seeing the world. One person is lying asleep. For him, will the world be there? So what produces the world? We have sound. We have sound. We have touch, smell, taste. Shabda, sparsha, rasa, rupa, gandhas. Are they produced by the objects or are they produced by our senses? बोलिए ना थोड़ा. चारों ओर इतने इतने विषय हैं, उनसे हमको क्या मिलता है, क्या अनुभव होता है? सिर्फ शब्द, स्पर्श, रस, रूप और गंध. यही 5 हमारी इंद्रियां प्रोड्यूस करते हैं, बनाती है. The world is not able to produce at all. So the source of the world is our wakefulness, and the source of wakefulness alone can be sought, can be understood. That is the source of the world also. This mind which is waking us up from sleep, it is far more powerful than whatever is there in the explicit external creation. That mind, as it thinks, so it becomes. Our Panini, the great grammarian, wanted to write a very good grammar for Sanskrit language. There were already many grammars written by the others. You know what he first did? Anybody knows? He did austerity on Lord Shiva. Using his mind. Austerity is not of the body. The very thought is in the mind. Shiva was pleased. He came with his damaru and started playing it. Gudu gudu gudu, gudu gudu gudu, gudu gudu gudu. And from the sound he got Maheshwara Sutras, which are the basis of his grammar. And Panini's grammar, even today, is a great world wonder. Recently, somebody has discovered something in that grammar which makes it more understandable. Every one of us, whoever wants to do anything good, great and glorious, what you should first do is to contemplate with your mind on the inner presence itself. Call it Lord Shiva, Krishna, Vishnu, or anybody else. It is an act of your mind, an exercise of your mind, an austerity of your mind. So it is that mind which starts making a thought and repeating it. That is called mantra. What is the word mantra? Mananad trayate idi mantra. It is for repetition, 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 repetition. Mind's power is terrible. Terrible. You cannot imagine how powerful it is. It can act on matter. So, samaniva agudihi, samana hridayanivaha. Whatever the mind thinks and contemplates upon, that happens. Therefore, they say, may our intentions and aspirations be alike. Let us have a common objective and let us be unified in our thinking, goals and attainments. Let us have good leaders. In the whole society, leaders are few, the led are the many. There must be people to think. People have no time to think. They are breadwinners. All the efforts are only for gaining food, shelter and clothing. Nothing else. Some comforts and conveniences also. Now, this is a specimen of Rig Veda. We have altogether 4 Vedas: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda and Atharva Veda. It's all a text or a book of knowledge. The word Veda itself represents knowledge. The root is Vid, to know. Vedas deal with such knowledge which is not otherwise available to us. Our knowledge is only sensory knowledge. We don't have the knowledge of the subject. We only have knowledge of the object. Whenever I see the world, I am seeing the world. The world is seen by me. So there is a seer. Your eyes are open, you see the wall. With the same eyes, you see your body. So the body is an object as much as the wall is. The subject is for both the same. That subject part, nobody takes into consideration at all. So our Vedas tell you all about the subject dimension within the body. Now the Vedic thinkers began their thoughts. Again, remember, it is prehistoric. So we cannot say at all when they started thinking. The Britishers had written by 500 BC. Rig Veda is 500 years old. Who told them? 500 years BC. Our Mahabharata was written, it has been historically proved by our own statements, ancient statements, that 5059 years have passed after Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, etc. were written. Then how can Rig Vedas be only 500 BC? Thoda sojiye na, buddhi lekar. The trouble is that we don't have our history. In our constitution, there is no reference to our motherland. The constitution framers thought about India only as a geographical piece of land handed over to them by the British Empire. They have no thought of the human beings who lived here millennia earlier. Luckily and fortunately, they have taken Satyameva Jayade, one of their statements. Even now, in the ministry you will find how the deliberations were made, what all happened. When the subject was brought about, making a reference to our heritage, how people responded, reacted, etc. are there. Let it be that. I don't worry about it. But I want to speak whenever I speak and make our people know that this is the truth of our country. Your forefathers were not 5,000 years old, 10,000 years old, even a lakh of years old. No, not at all. Still older. When I discuss Mundaka Upanishad, you will understand it. Initially, they started praying. So the first part of the Vedas consists of only hymns. It is called Samhita. Samhita. Why did they pray? Because the world is very huge and imposing. There are a number of frightening elements. When you have fear, what do? You pray. So they lifted their hands up, looked up. When you look down, 6 feet below is the earth, nothing else can be seen. So you can have an extensive vision only when you look up. So they extended their hands in helpless fear, adoration also, and started praying and praising. So the Samhita consists of only praises and prayers. After some time they felt, we are praying and we are praising. Suppose a guest comes to your house, you go on talking to him. Half an hour has passed, 45 minutes have passed. If you don't offer him a cup of tea, are you a good person? Are you a good householder? So we are praying and praising, but we are not giving them anything, only adoring. So they felt like giving something, but to whom? To whom? So our Hindu mind is very fertile. So they decided, let us ignite fire in a ceremonial altar, make it blaze forth, and whatever combustible is there, let us offer it with the mantras, with the prayers and praises we have. So the second portion of the Vedic thought consists of rituals and ceremonies, especially fire sacrifices. That is called Brahmanas. They went on doing it. After some time the performer becomes old. He is not able to do. The question arose, we have been offering, addressing the offers to reach X, Y and Z. Where are they? Have they reached them? Have they told us anything in the matter? We have received your offers and we are happy. We are giving you a number of blessings. Nothing we have heard. So what is this performance? It's all unilateral. There is no bilaterality there. So they felt disgusted. It is all our own. हम सब तो कुछ तो करते हैं. इंद्र के लिए, चंद्र के लिए, दूसरे के लिए बहुत कुछ हम बोलते हैं. फिर भी वे लोग मिलते हैं क्या? अभी तक कोई जवाब नहीं मिली है. इसका अर्थ क्या है? जो कुछ हमने किया है, हम बोलते हैं हमने किया है. किसके लिए किया है? वहाँ से कोई उत्तर, कोई जवाब, कुछ नहीं मिली है. तब ये व्यर्थ नहीं है. इसमें क्या मीनिंग है? संतृप्ति तो नहीं है. मैंने कुछ दिया, किसके लिए दिया है उसके पास से कोई खबर अभी तक नहीं. दशाब्दों से कर रहे हैं, कोई जवाब नहीं. So they felt disgusted. They stopped everything. Withdrew everything. Withdrew what? All the oral and sensory indulgences. Prayer is of the mouth, praises also, and all fire and other sacrifices are with the hand, etc. So they withdrew from everything. That withdrawal marked a very significant change in the Vedic life and thought processes. This portion is called Aranyaga. Everything came back to their mind. The mind became contemplative. Are you interested in hearing? Huh? When you return to your mind, the whole mystery will begin to reveal. You return to your mind. So they return. And then, when man becomes an introvert, he becomes internalized. What happens? He starts questioning, seeking, inquiring, and knowing. That is what our intelligence is meant for. Our intelligence's pursuit is knowledge, knowingness, wanting to know, getting knowledge, using the knowledge, developing it. That is what our intelligence wants. Just like our stomach needs food, mind needs peace and contentment, intelligence needs knowledge. So they set up and formulated very beautiful and pertinent questions and started pursuing them. When you pursue a question, it becomes prasthana, a voyage of knowledge. What did Newton do? He saw a number of apples hanging here and there on the tree branches. All of them were equally falling perpendicularly to the earth. Others picked up the apple and ate. Newton did not. What? Fruit from everywhere in the tree is falling perpendicularly. Why are they not flying? Huh? What is the reason? You know, Newton thought for 1 year. Before he found it was the gravitational pull of the earth that was bringing all the apples down perpendicularly. Anybody you start questioning and pursue the question, you end up in knowledge. These questions, inquiries, investigations, findings, all these became the last portion of the Vedas. They are called Vedanta. In other words, they are the Upanishads. The word Upanishad has got a very special meaning. Upa means samipe, very near. Nishad means to sit. So the Upanishads are read and discussed by a person who realizes the message of the Upanishad. Only when the seeker goes and sits by his side and he reads it and explains it, it can be understood. That is why they are called Upanishads. By writing, one will not know. Even by reading, you will not know. You will have to go near the teacher, maybe if necessary spend sufficient time, a number of days, in order to know it. The study of the Upanishads and scriptural compositions is as important as the sadhana that you personally do. Both are equally important. Suppose you go on doing sadhana alone, nothing will transpire. You will say, I am able to quieten my mind, the mind is quietened. Then what happens? It's a blank, it's a blank. And it's a blank. What? Is there anything like blankness and vacuum in the world? Why do you say that you have blankness within your body? So you will have to go to a teacher and the teacher will have to explain it to you. Now, I will tell you what is an Upanishadic setting and how they begin their thinking and deliver the message. Are you ready for it? I told you I read Mundaka Upanishad. I am quoting from there. The Upanishads speak and convey their eternal message. Whatever the Upanishads are saying, they are in the form of a value, a principle, a law, an order, a harmony, a balance. It is all about a value, goal. What is human life? The definition according to our spiritual thinking is that our life is experiential. Am I clear? Right from the beginning it is experiential. Why is a child born from the mother's womb crying? I asked a doctor, why do you call it crying? It is not a cry in distress. The born child should cry, then only it can live. It is initiating its independent life by crying. Normally by the word crying, what do we mean? When you are afflicted, when you have pain, when you have suffering, etc. In the case of the child, it's not that. Then the doctor said, we haven't thought about it, I cannot answer you. It is taking its breath. The lungs begin to function. I can be corrected if I am wrong. From that moment onwards, it is experiential. In the Upanishads, it is all revelations. It is all knowledge. gained by contemplative and absorptional thinking, experienced by inner absorption, living in solitude, interacting very little. The main interaction is between the teacher and the student. That is the Upanishadic level. You will find it as I proceed. In the case of Bhagavad Gita, it is not so. The whole Kurukshetra, 145 kilometers away from our capital, New Delhi, had 4.5 million warriors. All of them had come there with an individual resolve to kill the enemy or get killed by the enemies. Never go back from the battlefield defeated. If they go back, they will go back as winners. Fight was very clear. But the fight was only between the fighters. No civilian or no helpers were involved. They were all spared. So in the Kurukshetra battlefield, Krishna also delivered the same Upanishadic message. But the environment was totally different. Within the din and bustle of a huge war, Krishna, standing as a charioteer, looking back, was speaking to Arjuna, who was sitting there, leaving his bow and arrow for 2.5 hours. See the contrast between the two. The solitude of the Upanishads and the din and bustle of Bhagavad Gita dialogue. Understand it very clearly. People think that the Upanishads and spiritual wisdom are only for the recluses. See what Krishna did? Was it for the recluse? Krishna was not a saint. He was not an ascetic. Nor was Arjuna as an ascetic. The message had to be delivered and the effect had to be demonstrated. All within a matter of 2 or 2.5 hours. Arjuna got up, took back his bow and arrow and said, I shall fight if necessary a score of Mahabharata wars, he said. This is how the Upanishads have their effect. It takes away the delusion from your mind, the doubt, the fear, the ignorance from your intelligence. It is a cleaning and a clearing process. There was a great householder. His name was Shaunaka. I told you, any number of rituals and fire sacrifices ultimately will not give you what you want. Either contentment to the mind or knowledge and wisdom, fulfillment to the intelligence. So he performed and he became a great householder. Shaunako havai mahashalo angirasam vidivadupasannah papracha. This is how the Upanishad begins. A great householder, Shaunaka by name, duly approached Angiras, a sage living in solitude, and in the right noble manner, he papracha. Say that? He asked. He asked. This is the language of the Upanishads. You ask, you seek, you beseech. Tell me, make me understand, disclose, enlighten me. Sometimes the judges in the courts of law, they say, I have heard them say, please enlighten me on this point. They will tell the advocate. The judges, even Supreme Court judges, this is a point I am not able to understand. What does Constitution say about it? Please enlighten me. It was this kind of an approach. So, Shaunaka was performing rituals for a long time. He was a great householder, very old also. And ultimately he found all that I have done has not given me what I want. So he became very desperate. He consulted other householders. They were sailing in the same boat. So he could not find an answer. So he decided, let me go to somebody who leads a different way of life. What is the different way of life? An ascetic life. So he heard about Angiras and he went there. And what was his question? Kasmin bhagavo vijñāte sarvamidam vijñātam bhavadīdi. I don't know whether I should stand up. I am telling you what transpired in our country, in this holy land, in prehistoric times, countless millennia ago. Countless. When I say countless, it is countless. None in the world can oppose me or want me to replace my word. Because history is written up to 500 or 600 BC. Was there not earth then? Were there not people? What about the history of those people? So he went there and asked, by knowing which specifically will I have known everything in full? क्या समझने से सारा कुछ समझा जाएगा? किसको समझने से सारा कुछ समझा जाएगा? This was the question he raised. So you tell me, such an old, mature, glorious householder, what he had to ask for from Angiras is nothing about rituals, only about knowledge. So you tell me, what is the progress from karma? The progress for karma is only to jnana. Every one of you needs it. The earlier, the better. Angiras was very pleased. By knowing which in particular or specifically can I know everything in full. So what is the content and the message of the Upanishad now? Tell me. It is exposing you to a knowledge which will make you a sarvajna, an all-knowing person. My dear son, this is what is. This is what existence is. Expression is. Phenomena are. This is what you call the world is. He explains the whole mystery. Mystery of existence. Explained by a human mouth, heard by human ears, understood and absorbed by human mind, and confirmed and stabilized by human intelligence. That is why it is called a voyage of knowledge. It begins from the teacher's mouth, enters into the eardrums, goes to the brain center, works on the mind and intelligence, and finally results in enlightenment, abundance, and ecstasy. Angiras started giving very good Prishchaga, enquirer this man is. So I will tell all about him in the very traditional manner. So the Mundaka Upanishad says, Om Brahma Devanam Prathamas Sambhabhuva Vishwasya Karta Bhuvanasya Gopta Sabrahma Vidyam Sarva Vidya Pratishtam Atharvaya Jeshtaputraya Praha. Are you finding it interesting? Huh? See, he says, the knowledge that he was going to communicate to Shaunaka, he says, where from it has come? So he says, I don't know, the appreciation is so much. Where are we being connected to now? Brahma Devanam Prathamas Sambhabhuva. We are all human beings. You are born of your parents. Parents are born of their parents. Tell me where from the first parents were born. बोलिए थोड़ा, बोलिए ना, आपकी बुद्धि है ना. The first human parents, they were not born from humans at all. So there is something called suprahumans or non-human. That stage is there. A human mother delivers human children. Dogs deliver dogs. Tiger delivers tiger. Now can you think of a mother who delivers all? This is only for the intelligence to know. You cannot see and understand it with the senses. A mother who can deliver all must be different from all. Is the point understood? Huh? So why don't you react? So our first source, the first parents, they were born not from parents. They became. So here he says, go back and think of a time when human beings were not there. They were not yet born. Brahma devanam prathamasambhabhuva. Think of the suprahuman, not that such a person is there. A suprahuman source. First of all, Brahma was born. Who is this Brahma? Vishwasya karta, bhuvanasya gopta. He is the creator of the universe and he is the protector of the world. Saha Brahma Vidyam Sarva Vidya Pradishtham Atharvaya Jeshtaputraya Praha. He called his first son and instructed him on Brahma Vidya. I came to Jamshedpur in which year? Ma? Can you tell me? 1965. I came here. And then, either then or the next visit, we formed Brahma Vidya Sangh here. 5 or 6 people initiated into Brahma Vidya were there. Where you sit now, it is all a development from there. In one of the houses, they started meeting every week once. That Brahma Vidya. Then also I had this insight. Instituting Brahma Vidya in the seekers. Brahma Vidyam Sarva Vidya Pratishtham. It is the source of all knowledge. What is Brahma Vidya? सभी विद्याओं का स्रोतस है. सभी विद्याओं का. ब्रह्म विद्या प्रतिष्ठाम अथर्वाय ज्येष्ठपुत्राय प्राह. He called his first son Atharva and imparted it to him. My dear son, you will need this Brahma Vidya to make your life successful, smooth and fulfilling. Without this Brahma Vidya, you will be deluded, you will be fearful, you will be ignorant, your mind will remain constricted, you can never have expansion, you will never be able to resolve your crisis. The mind generates problems, the solution has to be delivered by the intelligence. See how Angiras takes the knowledge to the pre-human age. Our knowledge, when was it evolved? He says like this, Atharvaneyam prabhadeta brahma atharvatam purovacha angire brahma vidyam sa bharadvajaya satyavahaya praha bharadvajo angirase paravaram. Angiras is the teacher here. But Angiras has got it from a succession of teachers. He is tracing them. Atharva tampuro vaja angire brahma vidyam. He delivered it to Angiras. Sa Bharadwajaya Satyavahaya Praha. He delivered it to Bharadwaja lineage Satyavaha. And Bharadwaja has delivered it to Angiras. So it comes like this. So you tell me, where is the beginning of this knowledge? Is there anybody in this world who can trace the beginning of this knowledge? आप लोग चुप रहते हैं, थोड़ा कुछ प्रतिक्रिया दिखाइए ना. When we say our Vedas are ageless, some people are mocking. Can there be anything ageless? Yes. Yes, you are ageless. Your lineage is ageless. When a child is born to you, it is just like Brahma creating the world. Your son is going to be the source of an endless lineage after him. Normally speaking, as long as the earth will be there, your lineage also will be there. How is it that we are going to die, all of us? As long as the earth is there, our lineages also will be there. So Shaunaka was told just how the Upanishadic thinker, the Upanishadic author is tracing us to that level. That level. Angiras is saying, you wanted to know by knowing which everything will be known. So it is a question on knowledge. It's a question on knowledge. Now you see how he speaks. I wish all of you are with me when I speak. Dve vidye tasmai sahovaja dve vidye vedidavye idihasma yad brahmavido vadanti. People who know the supreme reality called Brahman, they say, dve vidye veditavye. The knowledge to be known is twofold, divided into two. Yad brahmavido vadanti parachaiva aparacha. Parachaiva aparacha. Have you ever heard division of knowledge? Is there any other land that has spoken like this? It's clearly written here. One is called the higher knowledge, another is called the lower knowledge. What is the lower knowledge? Whatever you see, interact with through the senses. This is outside the bodily level. But can the senses work by themselves? Huh? Yes or no? No. If the senses cannot work by themselves, how can sensory knowledge be superior and higher? Something higher to the senses is inside. That is what animates and activates the senses. So there is a knowledge. There is a knowledge centered within the body. So the sensory knowledge is not the be-all and end-all of it. It is not superior also. इंद्रियों को देखने के लिए प्रेरित करने वाला मन आंतरिक सान्निध्य तो है. जब तक यही है, ये सत्य है. इंद्रियों के द्वारा जो नॉलेज, जो ज्ञान हम कमाते हैं, वो श्रेष्ठ हो सकता है क्या? ऊंचा हो सकता है? कभी नहीं. सो ही सेइज पराचैवा पराचा. Our life is experiential. It is also knowingness and knowledge. All our experiences are actually relating to the mind. First of all, we want to see. Who is wanting to see? The eyes are wanting to see, or the mind feels like seeing. And then the eyelids are open, focused in the direction in which whatever is to be seen is there. So the process is initiated by the mind. It is subsisting on the mind. It also terminates in the mind. So you tell me, is there a source other than the mind for all actions, all feelings, all experiences, all knowledge? Higher knowledge and lower knowledge. What is the higher knowledge? How is he taking him? Two divisions of knowledge, there are two kinds. One is the lower, the other is the higher. Para and apara. Para means superior and shrestha. Apara means inferior and, I don't want to use the word, ashrestha. Actually, I should say nikrishta. That I am not using. It is too harsh a word. He says, tatra para. The inferior one is, this is the book I read first, and I was astonished, struck immensely by the message it delivered. You know what it says? Tatra apara, the inferior knowledge, is what? Rigvedo, Yajurvedaha, Samavedo, Atharvavedaha. Are you following? Suniye na. Rigved, Yajurved, Samaved, Atharvaved, सब inferior knowledge है. क्या बात है? तब superior कहाँ है? We all think that the Vedas are so great and glorious, wonderful. अरे सब कुछ inferior है. मात्र नहीं, शिक्षा कल्पो व्याकरणम निरुक्तम छंदो ज्योतिषमिति. In ancient times we had 4 Vedas. Those who have studied all the 4 Vedas, they were called Chaturvedis. Somebody will be there in this group. Chaturvedi. In your lineage, somebody had learned all the 4 Vedas. It will take 10 years to learn one Veda. And only reciting it, not the knowledge of it. For knowledge you have to spend another 10 years. Knowing the meaning and knowing the message. So Chaturvedis are those people who had mastered at least reciting all the 4. Then Trivedis are there, Dvivedis are there. I have not heard anybody as Ekavedi. Dvivedi, Trivedi and Chaturvedi I have heard. So, then Shastras are 6. Shastras means scientific renderings, scientific treatises. Shiksha, Kalpo, Vyakaranam, Niruktam, Chando, Jyotishamidhi, altogether 6. They all deal with what? The etymology of the Vedas, the source of the Vedas, how to apply them for ceremonies and rituals. All these are included in Shiksha, Kalpo, Vyakaranam, the grammar part of it, Niruktam, Chandas, the meter, Jyotisham, astrology or astronomy. When 4 Vedas and 6 Shastras were sufficiently known to one, he was called a Sarvajna. There was nothing else to learn. Only 4 Vedas and 6 Shastras. Now we have a number of subjects. Then these were current at that time. I don't know what is your reaction. जब हम समझ लेते हैं वेद पठन भी, वेद का अनुसरण भी सब कुछ अश्रेष्ठ है, श्रेष्ठ नहीं है, तब तो श्रेष्ठ क्या है? हमारी रीति रिवाज, आचरण, अनुष्ठान, व्रत, तपोनुष्ठान सब कुछ इंफीरियर है. कहाँ है सुपीरियर श्रेष्ठ नॉलेज? Then he says, the Shrestha knowledge is that athapara yaya tadaksharam adhigamyate. The superior knowledge is that by which you know the imperishable. अर्थ क्या है? दुनिया में जो कुछ है सब कुछ नाशवान है. मान लेते हैं क्या? हाँ, सब कुछ नश्वर है. हमारा शरीर, हमारी धरती, सूर्य भगवान, चंद्र भगवान, सभी वैकुंठ कैलाश, सब कुछ नश्वर है, चलनात्मक है, सब बदलता रहता है. जो नहीं बदलता कुछ है? हाँ, बोलिए ना, कुछ है सारे विश्व में? Everything here is moving, 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 changing, 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 changing. शरीर में परिवर्तन कितना है? हर एक आदमी के पास अब जो शरीर है वो नहीं था एक हफ्ते पहले. शरीर दूसरा था, उसमें परिवर्तन हो गया है. सब परिवर्तनशील है. And all the Vedas and Shastras are speaking about these नश्वर चीजों के प्रति. तो तब परा विद्या कौन है? परा तु यया तद अक्षरम अधिगम्यते. इम्परिशबल, अनश्वर कोई कुछ है, उसको समझाने वाला वही है परा ज्ञान, ज्ञान. Whatever is imperishable, to make you know that. Now you may wonder, Swamiji, ऐसा कुछ है? हैं, हम दिखाते हैं. देख लीजिए, हम दिखाएंगे. सभी लोग बोलते हैं मैं हूँ, हूँ, हूँ. कब शुरू हुआ हूँ? When you were 2 years old, you started saying, I am here, me, I, here. You started saying I. You are 60, 70, 80 years, 40 years, 30 years. Has the I changed in you? हाँ? बोलिए ना. बाकी सब बदल गया. जे हूँ वाली उपस्थिति जो है, मैं हूँ, वो कभी नहीं बदलता. So what is para knowledge? Huh? Superior knowledge is that knowledge by virtue of which you are taken to your own inside the body, made to investigate what is there by a thought process, by an inquiry process, by a contemplation process, as a result of which ultimately you will know, मैं यही हूँ. हूँ वाली उपस्थिति को मैंने पकड़ लिया, पकड़ लिया, पकड़ लिया. मैं समझता हूँ who I am. अंतरात्मा के प्रति जो ज्ञान है, परब्रह्म के प्रति जो ज्ञान है, भगवान के प्रति जो ज्ञान है, वही मात्र पराविद्या. बाकी सब अपरा है. You can imagine the effect I had when I read this. Especially when he said, all the Vedas belong to the inferior category. Somebody asked me today or yesterday, where from shall we begin? People who are initiated into the Vedas, what is first done is, a sacred thread is given and Gayatri is imparted by the father in the presence of the priest. And what is this Gayatri? Tat saviduhu varenyam bhargaha Dhimahi. I use my intelligence and reflect upon it. People only say, I reflect upon it, I reflect upon it, I reflect upon it. They don't reflect. I will read the book, I will read the book, I will read the book. Does it mean you read? Why are you keeping quiet? We are contemplating upon Varenyam Bhargaha. that supreme brilliance, adorable brilliance. What should it do for me? Dhiyo yonah prachodayat. May our intelligences be properly propelled. That's all what we want. So that Vedic link, that Paravidya link is there in Gayatri. Now we have to pursue this link and get into this para knowledge and reach the goal that we have set before us. What is that Paravidya? What is that source? Yattadadreshyamagrahyamagotramavarnam achakshushrottram tadapanipadam nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam tadavyayam yad bhutayonim paripashyanti dhira. This sloka I shall explain tomorrow. What is that knowledge about which you say Paravidya, superior knowledge? That superior knowledge is something that cannot be seen by the eyes, heard by the ears, smelt by the nose, tasted by the tongue, or touched by the skin. It lies beyond the senses, inside the body. Identified by your own expression, I am, I am, I am, I am. मैं हूँ, मैं हूँ, मैं हूँ, 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 हूँ. कहाँ हूँ तुम क्या हो? हूँ बोलते हो ना, समझना चाहिए. What are the spiritual constituents? Mind, intelligence and ego. Nothing else. These constitute the inner personality. Now, we make sure that your mind grows, intelligence grows, and ego also becomes more and more flexible, more and more sublime, and more humble. Every time, with every day, this inner enrichment and empowerment should take place. Every day. Whatever be your experience, whatever be your interactions, however troublesome it is, inwardly they should be enriching. And there is a way of doing it. That is what Brahma Vidya is. That is what Bhagavad Gita is. That is what Upanishads stresses. Okay. Samvedyavarjidamanuttamameghamadyam Samvitpadam vikalanam kalayan mahatman Hridyeva tishtha kalanarahita kriyantu Kurvan agartrapadamethya samodita shri Kurvan agartrapadamethya samodita shri. Hari, Hari, Hari Om Tas. We shall have the concluding Omkara. Take your pose for Hari, Hari, Hari Om Tas. Jai Guru, Jai Guru.